Smelling one.
Mel, Patricia, Gabriel.
We got Alexander Montes. Alexander, Eddie, Salazar. And we're here at Indie Fest USA 2014.
Okay.
And I have a film. I have actually two films here. One, I Want to Take Back America, which is a comedy that I co-wrote, co-directed, co-starred in with my
You act too?
I acted in it as well. And then another film which I just acted, which the director submitted after I told him about the festival. So we got two. I have two films here. And you have a film. What's your film called?
Who is Chang'e? A Lady on the Moon.
A Lady on the Moon.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay. And you're
I'm the DP of the movie.
the DP. Oh, nice. So cool. And then you are.
And I am a guest that came to see you guys speak, and outside here I'm just a freelance and a filmmaker and aspiring actor.
Awesome. Nice.
I am Eddy Salazar. A couple years ago I had the Insomniac here at this festival. I got sold, distributed worldwide, and right now I'm producing a couple of romantic comedies with some producers, pretty big producers that have been around for a while. And it should start filming. One of them should start filming in January. We got funding secured a couple months ago to start shooting in January. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Great. Okay. Well, here we are.
Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, man.
And I should actually add that I had a film that was in this festival a couple of years ago, Persona on Graden, which won Best Comedy. So that was cool. So it's not my first time at Indie Fest, and it's nice to be back. And it's interesting because I'll just say this real quickly, being in the Los Angeles area, but sort of not being right directly in Hollywood, it's kind of got an interesting, different vibe, and it's a very genuine, I think, feeling. And people here, I mean, the organizers, Ray and Don, very much have a certain kind of passion that is so nice, and I think very genuine. So it's always an honor to be here. Well, I think the idea of the symposium is we're talking about how to make. I remember it said, because I just thought, wow, that's an interesting term. How to make an award-winning film, or how to select an award-winning script. And I think that's a really interesting conversation because I'm not sure. I even put it out on social media today. Like, I have to speak at this thing. What do you guys think? And I got some really interesting feedback. And one guy wrote to me, if you want to make an award-winning film, follow your inner instincts. Maybe you'll get lucky. If you want to make a film that makes a lot of money, identify with the people. In other words, what can you expect the masses to want? So it was interesting because this guy is sort of saying, like, it depends on what your motivations are. And I think to make I don't even know, personally, maybe you have some ideas, Eddy, but like when you start out making a film, I mean, for me, I don't even know if I've been acting a long time. I've been a filmmaker a relatively short time. But even back in the stage, I'd be in things that suddenly would win a prize or win an award. And I don't know that anybody was thinking that was the goal. Like, the goal was just to make something that you believe in or that you feel passionately about or that, provokes you. But I don't know that I've ever thought, wow, I want to make an award. Like, I don't know how you do that.
I agree. I mean, to me, it's more along the lines, and that's why I brought up the whole thing of selling a script, because to me, what determines a film's success is really what you do after the festivals, more so than during the festivals. You know what I mean? So I come from that different mentality where, at the end of the day, we all want to establish our careers and move forward with our careers, and the only way to do that is to make a script that is marketable. You know what I mean? So that's, to me, the biggest point, is to really make a marketable script, but without losing the artistic integrity. And that's kind of where, because I also am an actor. I make my living producing, but I started off producing by acting in like little films that I would, try to gather some money to do, and that sort of started leading into a different realm of, I met one person, then I met another, and then all of a sudden I started producing bigger budgeted films. The two romantic comedies that I was talking about earlier, They're two $20 million films back to back. You know, so luckily, I mean, it's not me funding it. It's just finding the right team to move these things forward. You know what I mean? And it all came from having the wherewithal of writing stuff that to me was gonna sell. You know what I mean? While still feeling proud of the work. It's not like you have to create something just for the sake of, hey, I'm gonna sell something just for the sake of it. I'm not proud of it, but you have to find that sort of balance where you're writing something that you're proud of, but it's still marketable. You know, the film that I wrote and produced called The Insomniac, I also started that screened here. Won an award here as well. I won Best Feature Film, which was pretty exciting, and we secured a deal shortly after. Actually, on our first film festival, we got it sold right away because it was a psychological thriller, and psychological thrillers at that time were selling, pretty quickly. Now it's more along the lines of family films that are selling more. For one reason or another, things just shift, and that's kind of like having your finger on the pulse is the hardest part. But to me, that I was really passionate about the project. I wrote it, and it had a lot of meaning to me because certain things that I went through in my life, I incorporated into the script. But it still, I felt, had an impact for the market. So that's kind of where my thought process was.
That balance.
That balance.
Design.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing because I think maybe in different things that I've worked on, I know, like as an actor, like it's funny because I almost intuitively know, I don't know how, but I'll intuitively know if I get a script and I really connect with the material, and it's almost like I could bet, not always 100%, but I could almost bet when I'm going to get a role because I'm that connected to what's happening. And it means that I have that personal connection. And then you hope that all these elements come together, the other actors, the writing, the directing, the editing, sound, all the camera work, all this stuff, you really hope it comes together in a way. When you're behind the camera, when you're a director, when you're the writer, but mainly as a director, I think you have a little bit more control. As a producer, you have more control of what the outcome is. But I'm just fascinated by this concept of, again, like, it's because what I hear you saying is almost like the award is actually the commercial success, which I think is an important. Yeah, that's what you have to do. I think sometimes people make choices, which isn't to say that one is better than the other, but I think sometimes people make choices to say, okay, we want to make a movie that really either speaks to us or deals with something that's never been dealt with before, or you're going to break a taboo, or you're going to break a form. And often those are the films that sometimes, change the world because it's never been done before.
Sure.
And so there's sometimes this thing where you have to actually think outside the box, and you almost can't listen to the marketplace or what the predominant thinking is of the marketplace. And yet you have to still hope that the market, whether it's through the process of film festivals or selling it to a distribution company or however that's going to happen, you have to hope that they're going to see whatever it is you're seeing and yet be bold enough to take those risks. And it's a funny thing because I think sometimes the trap, especially once you get into Hollywood, the trap can be how much can we do things the same way? Like you said, like everybody was doing psychological thrillers a couple years ago.
The market changed.
The market changed, and then it's so funny because then everybody's hot for whatever the thing is now, and yet in a year or two, maybe that's not going to be the case, but that's when you're done with your. So in a way, you can't really gauge at any given time, or can you?
I mean, it's all risk. You know what I mean? You can't always. I always related to playing the lottery. You know what I mean? But the more tickets you play, the better chances you have to win, and still then you might not win. You probably won't.
About the probability of
exactly.
investment.
Exactly. So I come from the approach of try to do something that could change the world, but will be seen by the world in order to change it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it's finding that balance. again, and that's what I'm always a sticker about is when I'm writing or when I get a script presented to me is it good? I don't just see a film as okay, this is a psychological thriller. Let's try to get this thing made,
Right.
or anything else. But if it's a good, solid script and if it has strong characters, and I think if we're talking about going back to the award-winning films, I think that having strong characters that have strong arcs, that make an impact. I think these are all things that help get turned on. Like
So the parent to invite investor, and then after you got the award, it's great if you just to your people. So you have to do it step by step. And, and market oriented to shoot to fit into the market. Right?
Yes.
And that's kind of where I would say to me, and again, I'm shifting the conversation completely a different direction, which maybe I shouldn't do, but to me, it is important to kind of be aware of the marketplace because it's
sensitive.
Yeah, exactly. Be sensitive, but still create a project that you're proud of.
And also, I mean, one of the reasons why you want to be aware of the marketplace is because you also don't want to do what's just been done or what's been done before. Or
So you mentioned
or if you
we have a script which is extraordinary, which never before anybody have do it, then you have more chance to be successful.
Well, I don't know. I like you said, it's kind of like the lotto. Like, who knows? But I do think that, once something's been done, like I think there's a danger with wanting to do the safe formulaic thing that everybody else did. So then you want to find, okay, how can we do this but have it be different? Or what's different about this one than the last, 3 that we've seen that are like that? And I don't know, is that something you even consider when you're in that process? I mean, I know that Janice and I, as we were working on this mockumentary, what was interesting for us about making a mockumentary is that there are a bunch of very famous mockumentaries that are very classic, like This Is the Guest. And so in many ways we were comparing ourselves or following forms or styles that have been established by somebody who 10 or 15 years ago when he started doing this, it was considered in a way groundbreaking and nobody even knew how to deal with it. And even festivals didn't even have a way to digest it. It was like a comedy was over here, a documentary was over here, a narrative dramatic feature was over here, but a comedic mockumentary was something. And now all of a sudden you have huge festivals that have categories for that type of film. So the genre actually evolved. For us, we were looking at how do we do this but have it be, I don't know if it's different, but we were looking actually at subject matter. So we're exploring something and we're trying to say things that maybe, I don't know if it's that they haven't been said, but if you're saying this something that has been said, that maybe you're looking at it from a different angle or perspective.